personalization at scale perspective, but even a campaign agent, like the ability for it to understand performance and actually build out a campaign brief for you, which you can then modify from that sense. Selling agents, personal shopper agents, like there's a huge component happening right now where customers, consumers are using generative AI for product search. So how people are starting to interact and use search is changing, which changes how they use your search, sort of on your properties, right? And so thinking about things about how you bring that agentic experience into your brand world, controlling that experience. Of course, service, right? Getting into things, Wismo, where's my order? And then things like corporate and facilities, like supplier onboarding, field services, those components. So we just wanted to start here, and you can please take a picture of this. This deck does get shared out after, but we literally wanted to start with like, what is available today that you can utilize across the entire spectrum, basically, of your business, looking for those productivity enhancements. And I wanted to also share a customer story, which I picked because I really liked it myself. Now, this is a luxury retailer, and they do a lot of consignment. I think I have a lot of consignment and like as a part of their business model. So that part of the business is really, really labor intensive because they basically have to bring in products, they have to assess the products, take pictures of them. Like a lot of work goes into this process, and the people that have the skills to do that are also really busy managing the relationships with the people that they buy and source these products from. And so the solution to this was like, how do they basically enable this team that's really burdened by heavy overhead and operations, and how can they basically use an agent to support them? And so the solution here is that they're actually going to be implementing an agent that's going to actually work alongside the sales representatives. So what's going to happen is the agent's going to be able to access data across things like sales, marketing, and service, and actually able to help them with things like you can see on the slide here, like actually like client appointment summarizations, doing the planning, doing basically all of this overhead work that they have to do. So I like this example a lot because you see a lot of the agents where it's like an agent just interacting with an end customer, but this is actually an agent that's going to work alongside an internal employee that basically is going to take over a lot of the administrative overhead that they have to do, so that team can focus more on the relationship building with the current and existing customers and not so much time on all that overhead. And you can see on the bottom here, they're projecting to save 10 to 20% of it, that's in a week that they're going to save. And they're expecting an over 10% bump in sales volume because basically all that overhead is going to be taken off this team's hands, and they're a highly skilled small team. So that's just sort of just like an example of like generative AI, an out-of-the-box agent that can be used alongside humans in addition to just sort of taking over a front-facing role. But where we want to go next is like really getting into the nuts and bolts of where do you start with agentic AI? It's probably a question that most of us are asking ourselves is, where do I start with all of this? What are the pieces of this? What do I need to consider? And so we have David up here, we're going to talk it through, an absolute expert on this. And so we want to sort of get started with like,